Hey, what's up, everyone? Brian, this is the Rental Property Playbook. I have an amazing special guest, one of my best online friends. I call him the myth, the man, the legend, but he calls himself Justin. Welcome, Justin, to the podcast.
Brian, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to connect with you again and talk to your group here about investing in real estate.
So, what I just want to talk a little bit about how we met because the real estate world is kind of funny. It's like you all of a sudden one day you start real estate, next thing you know, you're chatting with people from all over the country. You are, correct me if I'm wrong, but you live in Seattle, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm technically an hour north of Seattle, but I say Seattle because most people don't know the city I live in. But
Yeah.
it's funny you say that about because like I'm always telling my fiance, oh yeah, I'm talking to my friend, and like a real friend, like in person, or like your online friends. And I'm like, no, they're like real friends. We talk all the time, but like, have you met them? And we finally actually met back in Vegas in March or February.
Yeah.
It was our
So
first time actually meeting in person.
that was the moment that I realized that Justin was not catfishing me. I was like, he is actually a real person. So yeah, it's funny. My wife says the same stuff. She's always like, you have a lot of online friends. I'm like, yeah, because we have this thing that we all dork out on, and it's called real estate, and we love chatting about it. So I wanted to talk to you before we're going to get into the real estate stuff. But one thing I was kind of spying on you, as you will, to about some of the stuff on your social media. But I want to know about your Amazon job. You worked at Amazon,
Yeah.
correct? Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that because I it's that'll be interesting.
Yeah. I worked at Amazon for 9 years. So I started there like July 3rd, 2016, and then I left September 2nd, 2022. And so just shy of or just over the nine, didn't make it to the 10 year and get the red badge of courage that, they have colored badges for how long you're there. I would have been the red badge of courage if I went 10. But yeah, that was quite the experience. So I got my MBA at Cal Berkeley, the Haas School of Business.
Hmm.
Wanted to move back to Seattle. I was in the Bay Area at the time, and the Amazon came to campus, got the job. I was super pumped about it. Went back up there, and I career switched from predominantly it was all operations and business management. I wanted to own my own company in the future. So I was like, well, what haven't I done yet? Well, finance is such a big portion of it. I focused on finance when I got my MBA. I interviewed for a finance job, so I got a what's called a FLDP, Finance Leadership Development Program. So it's where they get like a brain trust of MBAs and they bring them in, and typically they end up going into the other aspects of the business. Finance is a great starting point, and then they branch out. So I did that in 2016, and then I quickly realized I hate it. So I was like, well, I can't get out. I got all this student debt. It was like 120,000, I think, at Haas. So I quickly did the Dave Ramsey method and paid everything off. And I actually was using all my stock, which which in hindsight was a bad move. If I would have kept the stock, it would have been worth way more than the 120,000. But I'll stop there, and then you can ask me more
Yeah.
questions as you want because I had, three different sections at working at Amazon, which I
Yeah,
can cover
I,
through
I was
that.
just gonna say, I'm pretty sure my wife and I funded your entire salary because we get Amazon boxes at our house every single day. The reason I wanted to bring that up, I thought it was pretty funny, but early on in my uh, entrepreneur life, I decided to open up an Amazon business, and for 5 years, I actually was an Amazon seller, and it was really good. A lot of people don't know that about me. A lot of people at work know about me because I was selling bakery and cake boxes online, and people would laugh at me, including myself, because as a fireman, they're like, "What the heck are you doing, Brian?" But I did really well. I was one of the first people to start selling those. That was when those to go boxes were really popular for like
Yeah,
meal prep, and
yeah,
I decided to sell those, and then COVID happened. And I was like, I'm screwed. My business is going to go under. But guess what? Every mom in America decided she wanted to sell bakery stuff and sourdough.
yeah.
And remember the sourdough craze? And so it
It's still
just,
going on.
yeah,
It's kind of dying out a little bit,
yeah.
but it's
And then all the drive-by birthday parties. And so my company just blasted off. And I know that this is not about me, it's about Justin today, but I thought the listeners would appreciate that. So we were probably paralleling the paths of Amazon at the same exact time. Granted, I
yep.
was chipping away at bakery boxes and you were you were with your MBA, just crushing it. But so at a certain point during that, or at that point, were you doing any real estate stuff at all during your Amazon era?
No, not when I started at Amazon. I mean, I'd owned properties because like I had houses and I was married at one time. And then, ironically, when I was in California, I ended up having a house. We ended up selling the house and moving back because I was like, man, I don't want to own any long distance real estate, right? Fast forward today, like half is out of state. But yeah, I didn't get into investing until I started in 2013. Not I think I said 2016 earlier. So 2013, but then investing was actually 2016.
Nice. Okay. And so tell me about your first property that was not your primary and kind of like what incentivized you to do that? Like what got you into that real estate stuff?
Yeah, so for me, what was you know, for we're I think we're roughly around the same age. So I graduated undergrad 2001, right? And so then as I hated Amazon and wanted to get out. And then, what was that, around 13 years of putting money in 401k, kind of went up, then went down, then it's kind of come back up. I was like, I think I only had like 150,000 maybe over all those years because of the stock market. And I'm like, there's got to be a better way to get out. And then I was searching the internet. That's where I found Bigger Pockets. And I was like, oh man, I've got to figure out, real estate, right? And so, because I was like, there's so many people that make money that never even graduated high school. I'm like, I have an MBA from Berkeley. Like, this should be so simple. So I started with the house hack, but then, I know I was at finance at the time. So I was analyzing all these properties in Western Washington around Seattle. I was like, man, this doesn't make sense. No cash flow. Cash flow is what you need to be able to leave the W-2, or you got to generate some other active income somewhere else. So I was like, man, where can I find some properties that make sense? I'm like, my brother lives in Yakima, which is like 3 hours east. It's like, let me check that out. And so I found an 11-plex
Hmm.
on LoopNet, and which everyone says that's where deals go to die. But I ended up finding the deal on LoopNet. It was listed for 330. I got it for 285, and I didn't know what I didn't know because like I went to my lender and I was like, hey, I need a loan on this. He's like, I can't do it. Well, why can't you do it? He's commercial. And I'm like, well, then give me a commercial loan. And he's like, I don't do commercial. And then I'm like, well, who does commercial? So then he connected me with the guy. So, the whole process was just, you just find the next step. And then before you know it, you're well on the way, right? So I never fully planned out everything. I just kind of kept taking massive action, and it started building up from there.
That's crazy that your first deal was an 11-plex. Like, even as I consider myself somewhat of a seasoned investor right now, and that stuff still scares me. So I think the moral of the story to all the listeners is you don't need to have all the steps and all the stuff. Like, he didn't even know that you needed a commercial loan to do this. And Justin's a very sharp guy. He has got his MBA, right? So the thing is, you just got to take that imperfect action, which you did. So do you still own that place today?
No, I since 1031 sold that one. So I sold that 11-plex and I bought 5 duplexes and a triplex in Milwaukee,
Nice.
and about 14 months later.
I love
So I
Milwaukee.
netted 100K and pumped it into instead of 11 units, what is that? It went to 13 units, but total value increased, basically doubled the amount.
That's awesome. I think my favorite part about that story is, again, you didn't know everything. You knew the next thing. You probably started taking some lumps or some action wins or losses along the way. But the cool part is he had been putting money in his 401k for
Yeah.
years and it had 150 grand in a very short amount of time. And this is not like, this is a cautionary tale. Like, everyone can't expect these type of wins, but they're out there. But in a short amount of time, you 1031. So you learned about taxes, which is something
Yeah.
important. And you also learned about diversifying, which is a bigger number of units, and you learned about leverage all in the same swoop of one pen. By the way,
And
I love Milwaukee. When I first became
yeah.
a pilot, I was living in Hawaii.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people don't know I was an airline pilot before I was a fireman, and I was living in Hawaii. I got hired at the airlines, and they said, "Congratulations, your domicile, your base is Milwaukee." And I was like, where the heck is Milwaukee? All I knew was Laverne and Shirley and the Milwaukee Brewers, right?
Yeah.
And so I love that town, dude. That town is awesome. So do you still own there?
Yeah, at the peak, I had 30 properties. I think I'm probably in the 10 to 12, but
Oh,
I'm in the process of buying six seller finance properties. So I've been shrinking 1031, bringing it back to Washington.
mm-hmm.
But this deal that's coming up, assuming the terms work out in seller financing, I'll be buying six, so which would be like 11 units.
So do you only do duplexes and above?
Predominantly they're duplexes, but they range from now when I was very first starting, that was kind of I was just stamping the rinse repeat, right? But then would go, most of the stuff is 2 to 8 units. And then most recently, the last couple of years, the stuff that I have been buying is burrs, single family burr. So buy it, and like the last one I bought, I think 100% financing through a private money lender.
Mm-hmm.
Bought It was 110K. I bought it for 80, put 30K roughly into it, then refinanced out of it. Now, it wasn't a perfect burr. I think it was around 8% or something that I ended up leaving in there. But still, if you
That's
did 8% versus 20, you can buy more than, double than
yep.
what you could with the same amount of money, right?
Yeah, I love it. Now was that in Milwaukee as well?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Man, I I'm so glad that we're having this conversation. So for those of you who don't know what burr means, it's I'm gonna fumble it because it's like literally trying to spell Mississippi while rubbing your head and tapping
Yeah.
your whatever. Um, but it's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. It's a whole method to build equity. So um, yeah, like for those the listeners out there, I talk a lot about single family stuff. So like why did you prefer to do those 11 plexes, four plexes, eight? Like what draws you to that? And do you think it's something that like a newer person could do? Like what do you think is more valuable, or why did you go into that versus the single families to begin with?
Well, a lot of it is because, back to the original point. I didn't know what I didn't know. What I did know was finance, and I could crank out an Excel model, right? And so what I would do is just start looking at properties. I'm like, the stuff would kind of gravitate. Like in Yakima, that 11 plex was the only thing that I was like, man, this is like good numbers, right? And so I ended up buying that one. Now, when I started going to Milwaukee, I was just like, man, these pockets had nice returns, right? Specifically Sherman Park, right, was one of them, which is definitely C class, maybe C minus, probably C minus. And so I was just like, man, these are like no brainers. And, I was actually using commercial debt on those just because it was easy to get commercial debt. And really, I couldn't even buy lower price properties because the the cost to get the loan was fixed, but the loan was low. And so they're like, hey, if we go lower, this is considered a predatory loan.
Yeah.
And because the percentage was so high. And I was like, okay, so like I would be negotiating, and I would negotiate literally the max price reduction to the minimum loan amount without being a predatory loan.
I thought you were
So
going to say that you told the seller you wanted to buy it for more.
yeah,
I was like,
no,
that's
no. In hindsight, I didn't even know this at the time. I should have raised the price, got a seller credit,
right. Yeah.
would have been better, right? But I didn't learn that until later.
So is the majority of your stuff, like, what's your portfolio look like today? If you don't mind sharing, if it's personal, then that's okay too. But
It is, I think it's 32 properties, 81, I think, units.
wow.
And I'd say about half in state, half out of state. Um, Most in the Midwest. So like in Des Moines, Iowa, I have two eightplexes side by side. In Milwaukee is duplex, triplex, fourplexes predominantly, a couple single families. And then in Washington, pretty much everything I have, excluding one, it's a single family. So I have a sixplex in Yakima, and everything else is everything else is a single family or one property with two houses on it. So
Ooh,
kind of like a duplex.
sounds like you may have been in Thatch Nguyen's world at some point.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
Spent a lot of money with that guy.
Yeah, good dude. So what was I going to ask? So this is kind of a selfish question to me because I'm here to learn and I'm here to create questions that the listeners could learn from.
Mhm.
But did you ever come across situations where you were going to buy a duplex, triplex, fourplex, and the utilities, gas, water, they were not separated? And if so, how did you actually handle that situation? Is that a no go for you, or do you fix it? What's how does the seasoned investor now look at that?
It's a common problem because most, not just Milwaukee, but most groups, or I should say, jurisdictions that have the utilities do not separate water. And some it's water, sewer, garbage. So you have to, depending on the market and the rent is the rent. Whether your rent is here and then the utilities are here, tenants only have so much dollars, right?
Mhm.
So you can do utility bill back, you just end up having a lower rent. Or you can have a higher rent and cover the utilities. Now, the preference is that you push all utilities to the tenants because then they actually will monitor how much they use. If you're paying for the utilities and there's no pain if they use too much, or there's a leak, which I've had happen tons of times, which I just had one 2 weeks ago, an extra $1,500 of water in an eightplex. So if you can get it to where you do RUBS, ratio utility billing system, meaning you're billing back the shared utility, that's the best way to go.
And would you just divvy it up by 8? Like, if there was a water bill, you just, "Okay, you guys all better get along on this one. No, you guys need to monitor how long each of you are showering." That's kinda what you do, and they were okay with it?
No, so it would make sense to do that. Now, the largest, I have like two eightplexes also in Milwaukee. We have not done rubs yet. I'm looking at doing rubs, um, because we're kind of at market. I was going to shift and then add in the utilities. And the way that work, and these are three bedroom, which are larger than normal for multifamily. So when you have three beds, there tends to be a lot of kids. So we're trying to do it on head count. So in Iowa, we do it on head count because
Hmm.
like those are all two bedrooms. You could have four people in one and one in the other, right? So if you do it by head count, it's more correlated to how the actual usage.
Okay. So it doesn't sound as bad as I thought. That's one thing that's kind of been keeping me away from that, is because the same thing. I'm in the Detroit market, and it's very, very rare to find split utilities. And I'm like, how do I handle this? So I'm grateful for that. There is a way to figure it out. So I don't know what I'm so scared of when. But
Right.
okay, so at a certain point, you were working at Amazon, and you know, all right, what are you doing now? Like, what's besides obviously crushing it in real estate and just being like super buff and handsome? Like, what are you actually doing? Like, are you retired? Is real estate your only game? What's Justin doing?
So I'm all about, so when you're in the W-2 world, and I have my brands around W-2 to freedom, my goal is to help people get in the W-2 world, get out of it. And my avatar is predominantly tech because I'm in Seattle. Most of my friends are Amazon, Meta, Apple, so I help the tech untech.
I love that.
And so when I'm working with them, you have to have an economic driver. For me, it was real estate, but today there's so many. You could have a YouTube channel, you could have an Etsy store, you could sell bakery boxes or
Ah,
whatever, right? On Amazon.
yes, sir.
So, I'm all about diversification of income. And so one, it's for safety, but two, to me, when you start getting freedom, you can do whatever you want with your time. And I'm just like a guy that likes to be busy. So 20 years from now, I'm still going to be hustling. I like setting up businesses, making money different ways. So, um, my biggest economic active money is my real estate agent team, which, you know, I never would have thought about this, but I make more than I ever did at Amazon on this agent team. And it's nowhere near the amount of stress or effort. So that's like my main income. I have the rental properties. I have a parking lot rental. I have affiliate income coming in related to referral base. I have user generated content income coming in. Gosh, what are some of the other ones I got?
What's user generated content?
So, for example, this parking lot rental, there's a app called Neighbor, which I actually was wearing this shirt yesterday. So I'm like their super user, and because I post a lot about it, and I'm now like friends with the VP of advertising and marketing. When they want to do their meta ads, they need content, i.e., user generated content, which is the best because people who are wanting to learn about the service don't want the pitch; they want the actual person making the money.
I got you.
So that's usually where it's not huge. Like just with Neighbor, I've probably made $2,000, but
That's money.
it's more than zero. The last one I did was like $100 for maybe 15 minutes of work. But like I'll show you here because I have the app open, just for a frame of reference on like all these different ways that you can make money.
I know that's one thing too for the listeners, and I don't think they have a problem, but there's a lot of people out there. It's like I can't make money. I'll never be able to afford to buy a house. Like Justin's literally making money by posting about another company with his phone in 15
Yeah.
minutes. But you just got to be creative, right? Let's see.
So this is the app.
Dang, dude.
That's
how much you've generated
on just this one. So imagine Airbnb, that's Neighbor, the dominant market share, the best one, user friendly. There's another one called Pure Storage, which I've made, I don't know, at least 10,000 there. But that's kind of like a VRBO. It's got some following, but nowhere near as good. So, and I started that in 2023 because the first house I bought was a house hack. I lived in the 1-bedroom, so I was making, $200K a year at Amazon, but I lived in a 1-bedroom. I rented the 3-bedroom out to an Amazon guy, and I bought this property because it was 2/3 of an acre, and I was like, I wanted to buy something that had, at the time I called it and one, like the basketball.
love it.
Make the back bucket, then you get fouled, get the extra point. So the extra land, I'm like, oh, I'm going to build in the future there. But I was just letting it grow over for years, and then I turned the unit over with COVID. I went to short term instead of long term. Then the painter guy goes, man, you got all this land. You need to be throwing manufactured homes back here, or put some parking back there. And I was like, okay, that got me thinking. Then I was meeting one of my virtual friends.
Yes.
I was in Detroit of all places. I was there for that big lending company. I'm drawing a blank on it.
Kiavi?
Say it again.
Not Kiavi?
No, the not Rocket, but the other one.
Well, Rocket Mortgage is in Detroit.
Yeah, but it's different. It's the one that's run by he's big into Michigan State. But if I think of it, I'll bring it up. But I was there and I was like, hey, I'm in Detroit. You want to meet for coffee at Starbucks? So on my way out of town, met him at Starbucks. He's like, oh, dude, I just rented my garage out for like $150. I'm like, whoa.
What?
Hey, tell me more. So from the Starbucks to the airport, I downloaded the app, created a listing. That was in January of 2023. First booking February, first payout March. From March 23 to March 23, just on the app.
Is Neighbor? That's what they do? Parking?
Yeah, it's okay. Airbnb for parking.
Gotcha. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Wow, what a crazy thing. And so what I'm gathering here is there's so many ways to make money in real estate, right? And Justin's just been creative. He's added land. He took a grassy knoll and turned it into a parking lot. Like the beauty of real estate is there's so many things you could do, and you just have to be creative. And sometimes you're making these. I've made so many accidental wins that I didn't even know it. I'm like, oh, I bought this place on a corner lot that has alley access, and like now I have the ability to go put an ADU on there. I didn't even know what that was, but it's like you just got to keep moving that forward. I love that. The and one is awesome. That's an amazing analogy. So what I was gonna bring up because me and you talked about this last time, so I think it's relevant to talk about. And I'm just going to tell you out of admiration, I stole your term because I love it. But Justin, this is Justin's word, so don't try to steal. He owns the domain, so he'll sue you. No, I'm kidding. But
Yeah.
stealth wealth is something that you said, and I was like, I love that term. So explain to people. Everyone thinks that in real estate, you have to buy a property and you're just going to live off the cash and then
Right.
you're going to retire. And so one thing before you get into the stealth wealth thing, and your company is W-2 to freedom, but me and you are a lot alike. We both could probably walk away from our jobs, but we don't want to. We're these type A personalities, and I actually advise all the listeners not to walk away from your jobs, but to use your W-2 income as the catalyst to catapult you into greater things and greater wealth. And because you're lendable and you have the ability to take more risks because you have the job, and at some point you have the ability to walk away. But what's stealth wealth? What does that actually mean?
So stealth wealth is like it's stealth because you don't see it building, but it's every day it is working for you, right? And that is for me, I'm considering stealth wealth is the main one is the debt pay down because that's like guaranteed. Now, stealth wealth is appreciation as well because like just by owning it, it's kind of adding up, but that can go up and down.
So you're talking about the principal pay down of the mortgage portion.
Yeah, exactly. So I just opened up my portfolio. I track it in Google Sheet. So just my, because I own some in partnerships, but just my portion of stealth wealth per month. Let me convert this to on a year basis. So per year, 165,000 of principal pay down.
That's amazing. Congratulations, man. And guess what? That changes monthly because as the loan goes on, the stealth wealth or principal pay down. And I just want to have to throw this in there. So when people are analyzing properties, they make sure that's a big part of it because that's, I don't want to steal your thunder. So it's just a big portion of the money. That's a lot of money to be able to, you're guaranteeing that pretty much as long as the tenant's either you're paying it or the tenant is, right?
Yeah. Especially like when I'm dealing with in the Midwest, you're in Detroit, I'm in Iowa and Wisconsin. And so we can get positive cash flow, right? Now in Seattle, not happening. Maybe if you're a short-term rental and you're an operator, you self-manage, you got a good location, good property. For the most part, I'm just trying to get people to break even. If they break even and they got the and one, they can build in the backyard or something like that. That is like, to me, a no-brainer because that stealth wealth is there. Predominantly the debt pay down, but the growth in Seattle, I don't think it'll go forever, with all this AI stuff going, but literally, I'm sure it's like 10% a year. It's like crazy number of appreciation over the years. So, because if I do, what's that, 165K a year, right? And then let's see. And then if I do 3%, just assume.
He's calculating this in his head, folks, by the way, because he's
no, I have the Google spreadsheet. Between debt pay down and let's just say it's 3% appreciation, just my share, not the partnership share, my net worth goes up 437,000 a year.
A year. That's insane.
That's debt pay down and appreciation.
That
now is the appreciation's not guaranteed. The debt pay down it's gone, right? You pay the debt.
Yeah, you ran it at 3%, which is very conservative, even I would imagine. So listeners, here's if we teach you nothing else, or if Justin teaches you nothing else on this podcast today, don't quit your job. Utilize it to be able to buy these properties. But that debt pay down is one of my favorites too, because, and the reason you call it stealth wealth, I've also called it like a forced savings account, because
100%.
If the tenant doesn't pay it, we have to pay it. But guess what? It gets paid. Otherwise, the bank's going to foreclose and take your house. So, even with my moderate or modest portfolio compared to yours, like the stealth wealth for me is one of the biggest parts of the play right now, because I still have a good job. I don't need the cash, but behind the scenes, behind my deferred comp and behind my pension, my stealth wealth is growing at a very rapid rate, and I can't spend it. I somewhat call it liquid because I could get access to it, but it's going to take me 30 days to get to it.
Right.
So it is still liquid. So, but it's fun. That every month when I do my books, I go, whoa, Brian just made X amount of money. Pretty
Right.
cool. And then it starts getting better and better as you get more. And it's like, and you almost forget that it's there too, because it's not like you're looking at it in a checking account or your
Right.
online brokerage account. It's just, you'd have to actually go and analyze it to see what it is. But
Yeah.
that's amazing, man.
And
Congratulations on
it's one of those where when you're starting out, it feels like it's taking so long to acquire and to build up. These are like little wins that you can have and be like, oh man, I just paid $500 off or whatever your principal portion is of your payment, right? Those little wins are the what stack up. And what ends up happening, so a lot of people are like, because I've downsized, right? So at my peak, I had 45 properties, and yeah, 31 is what I got right now. And the reason I was able to get to that level, predominantly kind of in that midpoint. So I had bought some, and then there was a massive appreciation jump. Then I did a cash out refi, then I bought more. And then you start doing like if rates drop, appreciation kicks back up, I'll take another chunk out. So if you're a one rental at a time community, Michael Zuber just pulled out $1 million cash, maybe more. He's stockpiling cash, knowing that, in the short run, there's going to be some pain and he's going to buy. So like that stealth wealth, at some point in time, it's going to pay off, whether you refinance and just lower your payments. But most likely you're going to refinance, suck some of that cash out, pump it into more properties, increase your total number of assets.
Yeah, I literally just my first rental property I bought 4 years ago. I just refied at, and I had a funny post that Justin and I were talking about, but I literally was at McDonald's in Parker, Arizona on a spring break trip with my family, and I'm eating an egg McMuffin, refinancing, pulling the money out to buy my first Airbnb in Bryan Head, something that my family is going to use for generations. There's no way I could have saved up for that, right? And so the tenants pretty much helped me buy that next property, and
Right.
that's going to be an income generating property. And I have real estate gives you those leverage abilities to be able to do it. Whether or not you use it for, I would recommend using it for properties or other things. But like my plan is, I bought 2 properties when my kids were 8, because I knew 10 years from now they're going to be going to college. So I'm going to refinance those, and my tenants are going to be paying for my son's college, both of them,
Right.
because of the stealth wealth, the appreciation, all that, and I'm going to be able to pull out tax free money, pay their tuitions cash, and maybe they don't even go to college, but I have that option. So it's giving me tons and tons of options, and man, I love that. Sounds like, and please don't everyone think you have to get to our level, because it all starts with that one. You got to get that first one, and then you're going to get addicted to it, and you're going to see how wealthy you can become through that. So
Yeah. And
dude,
let me give,
congratulations, man.
that's why I tell people the very first property I bought. So I net in the summer 5,000 a month. In the winter, it's around 4,000 a month net. So,
That's crazy.
but I can build today, tear the duplex down, and I can put 8 houses, or I could upzone to my neighbor's zoning and I could do 12. So that one property, if I kept my cost of living low, and let's just say average is 4,000, I could retire off this one property. At some point in the future, I'm gonna then do a build to rent and just increase the assets under management and the cash flow and the my net worth. So I only really need that one. Now, if you want to live a bigger lifestyle and have more fun and stuff, you might need more than one property, but it can be done with one.
Yeah.
And that property I got in FHA loan, 3.5% down, was like 25,000. So if you think about that, I'm able to retire because of one property I paid 25,000 out of pocket for in 2016. 10 years later, it's just a banger.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you're on today, because I sometimes am very cautious about telling, like, you're very transparent with numbers, which I really appreciate, because I'm the same way. I think you hear a lot of people talk about their portfolios, and you don't really get into the nitty gritty. And I think this is going to give perspective to people of what is possible, right? It's not easy. It's not always perfect. There's a lot of stuff. You got to get in the right rooms. So, definitely we're later going to get into how they can get a hold of you and what it is you do to help people, but get in the rooms with people doing it. Cause I didn't even know what the word appreciation meant 4 years ago. And here we are talking
Yeah.
about all the cool stuff on the podcast. But two more questions. Cause we can go on forever. So number one, I think it's important. We're making real estate sound easy, and maybe it's getting easier to us because of the longevity we've been doing it for. But
Yeah.
I think it's important to talk about some of the crappy things that have happened, some of the knockdowns that you've had. So if you could, I'm going to put you in the hot seat a little bit. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
the crazy. Just pick one thing that you were like, you woke up to on your phone from someone, and you're like, and how did you handle it? Most importantly.
Let's just walk through yesterday.
Okay,
I mean,
there we go. Very relevant.
yesterday was like full tilt, right? So like just I'll kind of run through my day and the problems that were happening, right? So like I'm looking at my calendar up here. So I did 2 live streams. One with Cody Davis, young guy up in Washington. One's with a pilot out of Texas. During this time, I'm getting blown up by my Milwaukee property manager,
Mm-mm.
and then he starts texting me. So I'm doing a live stream, and I'm seeing the text over on this monitor, and it's like, "Hey, that lady, we're doing you a solid by bringing the lady with the 6 properties that wants to sell them. She needs to bring them into property management to get them stabilized and updated. They're like, you better buy those ASAP because we're going to fire her." So I got that going on. Then I get a call from somebody else on that team, and this is in Milwaukee. They're like, "Hey, the tenant had the sewer backup. We're trying to clean it up. If we don't use a third party firm to clean it up, she's threatening to sue us. It's going to cost 10,000 with a third party sewer company, right?" Then I have 2 listings going live on the agent business. So then and the person that they're going live with, she's out of town. So I'm trying to get the pictures and the contract signed and then review numbers with these sellers. I was one of the sellers too. And then separately, there's another deal that's falling through where I had to talk. It's one of those where the person buying our property is selling their property. The person that was trying to buy their property is trying to back out. So I had to go to help
Yeah.
solve their problem to solve my problem. Like, and this is all at the same time. And then I had to go pick up signs at one location on the way out. We didn't get the listing to sell, and they got an Airbnb tenant coming in. So I'm removing the signage. Then went and did pictures and videos at a new listing coming up next week, which that's a very challenging client. And then in the road, I'm doing a listing presentation for a $1.6 million house, all such that I could meet my brother at 6 o'clock, have some drinks, go to the Sounders game.
Oh
So
my.
that's like a normal day. It was a little bit more stressful than normal,
Yeah.
but I have to like work with property managers, different people on different teams, clients, change the way that I manage and talk to them, so that all I'm trying to do is increase business, lower cost. All I'm trying to is increase that spread between what comes in and what's going out. So like on one call, I'm like trying to keep the property manager satisfied so he keeps the seller onboarded, and then I can buy the properties. This other one, I'm like, hey, here's some solutions I would do if I was you trying to help me. Go talk to these companies that could certify that the work has been done to standard. That'll be like less than $1,000 for certification. Have your crew clean it up for a couple thousand. So instead of 10,000, it'll be 3,000. Get to work, go find a solution. Right. So I'm like problem solving all this at the same time. Oh, and I just remembered a new one. Got a new guy on my team. A guy is trying to submit an offer because he fired his agent, is hiring a new guy on my team. Luckily, I have videos on how to submit offers. Like, hey, go watch these videos first. Give me the data. Let's write the offer and submit. This is all literally 10 hours yesterday.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot, but here's the cautionary part of this for the majority of the listeners. Justin is a savage. First off, the fact that you have the ability to even regurgitate what you had to go through, you're a very, very sharp guy. Most real estate investors are not doing this at scale like you're doing, and not doing it running full teams and doing all this stuff. You have the ability to do as much and as little as you want to in this game. But the reality
100%.
of it is there's ways to solve every problem. And the biggest way I solve problems, and one of the reasons why I have this podcast, and the one of the reasons why it even benefits me to have Justin on here, is because people in this industry love helping each other. And
Right.
we cannot do this alone. And so like I know people all over the entire country. Again, my hopefully they're not catfishing me. These are my internet friends, but I know that like if I have something in Milwaukee, I can go to Justin. He's going to be more than happy to help me. If he needs
Right.
help in Detroit, I now know that I have agents and contractors and property management teams across the countries and lenders. When Justin and I were in Vegas, you're rubbing shoulders with people that want to help, and they're from every walk of life, every job,
Yep.
every demographic, and they want to help you. So I love that about this. But what I want to end with is because I know that you do this to help people. You have
Yes.
a community, so I want you to like pitch that, or like just to explain what you do and how people can get a hold of you. Because I also do something like this, but not everyone wants to work with me, and I think based off of this conversation, everyone knows that Justin knows what the heck he's doing. He's a very, very smart guy, very successful. Please get in the room with Justin because he knows what the heck he's doing. So if they want to get a hold of you and maybe hire you to coach them, what's the best method for that, and what is it exactly you teach?
Yep. There's two levels. So level one, the main one is W2 to freedom, that they can reach out to me.
Sweet.
So I do one-on-one coaching in there, and then I just post like these videos. When you post on your channel, I'll repost it on my channel. So I'm sharing everything I do, and I like to do the numbers, like the real world, the sauce.
Mhm.
Everyone talks about the sauce. No one shows the sauce, how it's being made, so that they can actually, taste it and understand it. So that's my big thing, the W2 to freedom, because I can help anybody in the world do that. Now, if you're within 1 hour of Seattle, me personally, with the Camber Group, we will help you buy, sell, invest, and lend and make money, right? And our tagline there is helping you build wealth through real estate. So we're trying to, if you're selling a property, how do you get the max price for it? If you're trying to buy it, how to make the highest return on your investment. So I just love finding new ways to make money, helping people make money. And what I learned at the very beginning of this investing journey, you have to talk to people to learn and understand. And what I've seen through, we were talking about that earlier, like as I'm manifesting and I'm putting positive vibes and adding value to people, it's like I can't put enough out there. More comes back than I put out. It's
Mhm.
amazing. So I try to help as many people as possible, such that because I know if I do that, I'm going to be taken care of.
Yeah, and you should be. And um, yeah, I mean, I've learned so much just from chatting with you here. So I highly encourage you guys, if you want help with if you're in the Seattle area or near there or anywhere in the country, and you want to learn from this man who's obviously knows what he's doing. Just I'm going to put all his information down there. Please give him a contact, and I know that you'll thrive even if you learn one little thing on here. That's our goal. Justin and I are here to share and not brag and boast about what we're doing, but we're showing you the possibilities of real estate, and we want you guys. We're so passionate about it that we want you to start, and so we took time out of our Justin took time out of his Thursday afternoon to do that. So I'm very, very appreciative of that. So thank you, Justin. And yeah, get a hold of him. I'm going to put the information down below. And you guys, thanks. This is Brian and Justin, the Rental Property Playbook. Stay tuned for the next one. And if you like it, I would appreciate a subscribe or maybe even sharing it with some friends. And we'll see you later. Happy Thursday.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, I don't know if this is going to click off when I do this, but hopefully it doesn't just boot you off. But